So we finally got the biggest piece of the puzzle. It's finally here. I can't thank the Full Torque drive shafts enough for getting this in on time. I'm really happy that we can get it to the show hopefully this week. So today's Tuesday, we have a show Thursday and Friday. Actually, today's Wednesday, we have a show Thursday and Friday. This is the last piece of the puzzle, so they did their job. And we got our custom-made drive shaft from Full Torque drive shaft here. We're going to pop it open for you guys. Check this thing out and get it in the truck. So let's unbox this thing. My lord. And all the way down to the U-joints.
I like that.
Yeah, so there's their website. I will put all their information down below so you guys can check that stuff out. We'll talk about their website in just a second, all the cool stuff they can do. But let's check this thing out. So everything was just made. He was sending me pictures of this thing when they were making it. Everything's brand new, weighted, balanced, everything you could think of. They just did. Super, super happy with this, the way it came out. It looks awesome. And then I've got my 28 spline slip yoke up on the front, and then there's their decal on there. Look at how nice these welds are.
Those are beautiful welds. Wow.
Everything on this thing is gonna look so sick underneath the truck. I just had this old rusty one, so now I got this thing. This is gonna be sweet, and it's gonna fit in the truck amazing. So I can't wait to put this thing in. It's just some of the quick little details. These guys put a lot of details in their drive shaft. Really nice welds all the way around. And perfect one piece. I'm so happy. It's nice, clean one piece. I don't like two pieces, so this is super sick. And it's already weighted, balanced, everything. U-joints are brand new. Super stoked. Can't wait to get this thing in the truck. So as you can see, I'm on their home website right here, Full Torque. This is kind of their home page. And as you can see, when I scroll down, there's a good selection of drive shafts just on the front page. I'm gonna go ahead and select something pretty close to what I had right here. And if I click select options, I can go ahead and change it up. It'll ask what transmission I have, which would be a TREMEC 3550. And as you can see, as I go down this thing, I continuously select different options and more measurements. Now these measurements aren't accurate, I'm just doing this for purposes to show you guys, but as you can see, it just keeps going on until you get exactly what you want. And you can go ahead and calculate it after you get all your prices in. It'll give you a price right there, add to cart. You can then view your cart, and then all the sizes are right there. They tell you exactly what you got, quantity, and the prices at the bottom. You guys can go ahead and order. All right, guys, so Full Torque Drive Shaft has their website. I'm wearing their shirt now. You can see it's got Full Torque drive shafts right there. They'll allow you to build any sort of custom drive shaft that you want for your vehicle, whether it be from Jeeps to rock crawlers to Hellcats, anything you want, they can do. You guys can go to their website down below and you guys can check out all sorts of different options that they have. And if you can't find what you need on the website, they do have any sort of drive shaft that you can make custom. You just gotta call them and they can hook you up really well. So you guys can actually get a specific price on your drive shaft down to the inch of tubing on the drive shaft. No blanket pricing, no hidden quotes, no hidden fees, all straightforward, super easy, super simple. They also do aluminum. That side of that part of their website is currently under construction, but as I said, you guys can call them, get anything you need on the phone. They'll hook you guys up. Anything from Jeeps, Hellcats, to crawlers, to off-road, to hot rods, anything you can imagine, they can get it for you. Check out Full Torque Drive Shafts, all the links down below. And I want to give a big, massive thank you to Full Torque Drive Shafts for sponsoring this video. It really helps me, supports me. So go check them out, support the companies that support me. Thanks again to Full Torque Drive Shafts. Now let's get back into the video. All right, guys, so today we have a pretty good list of stuff to do to get ready for the truck to be driving. Franklin's here helping me out with stuff. We have the last little touch-up pieces to put together. So the Crossmember needs to go in the truck. I haven't actually mounted that yet, so I'm pretty sure we need to slide it back 3 inches or so, drill new holes, and then make sure it's level with the engine, plus or minus 3 degrees on each side to make sure that it's not too far down or too far up or whatever. So I want to make sure I can get that right, put that in, and then go back down to the Z-bar side of the transmission and make sure that the clutch is engaging properly, it goes all the way to the floor, and it works properly. We don't have any issues there. So we're gonna start with the Crossmember. I already repainted it. I used like an under chassis kind of coating, sprayed that, and I'll go ahead and put it in, raise the trans, put it onto the trans, and then lower it, and then see where it sits, and then measure my holes and go ahead and drill new holes, and we'll get that thing mounted in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the Crossmember underneath the truck and mock up where it'll sit, and so I get ready to drill the new holes. So this needs to go up here. Okay, so we got it in, the Crossmember's in. It's obviously not really set up to just pop right in by any means, but this is the original like factory mount that I took off the other transmission, and it's actually offset. It goes more one way than the other, and you want it further backwards. Yeah, you can see there's like more of a lip on this side and less of a lip on that side. I really hope you guys can see that. There's like not really a lip here, and there's a really big lip here, and it's kind of like offset. So you want it further back. so the bolt doesn't just drive into the transmission. This bolt is too long, so it is driving into the transmission. This, I believe, is the bolt that I took out of it. So this bolt is the right diameter, but it's too long, so I'm gonna have to cut it or put a spacer in the back. Now you guys can see anything in there, but there's a bolt coming out of the back and it's hitting. So that is hitting, but the transmission does fit with this cross member. It's gonna have to be raised up for sure, because the trans is sitting at 5 degrees right now, which is too low. It needs to be up higher. It needs to be like way up there. And so that means we're gonna have to put some sleeves in here to compensate for that. And I also need to figure out how to actually get this bolted in properly. So I went and got a new grade 8 bolt, but I believe, I wanna say, you think that washer was 1/8 inch?
Probably. We had to cut the bolt short.
It's pretty big, and we cut about, I wanna say 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch off of the bolt. And pretty much what we did, shoved it all the way in until it hit the trans, and then whatever was sticking out, traced around the edge, added an 1/8 inch on top of that, and that's what we cut off the end. Put this washer on, put it all the way through, and put a nut on the other side, wedged a nut up in there, and then we went ahead and trimmed this down so it doesn't hit the trans. I have no idea if you guys can see that nut in there. I really hope. I'm not just staring at a wall, but there's a nut in there, and everything clears now. So hopefully you guys can see that. But now this is in, you can see it's still kind of hovering here. So that now we have to pretty much raise this. We'll raise this up and start putting some washers in here, some little like cylinders or whatever, and put the degree wheel on here, caliper, whatever you want to call it. And we'll make sure it's measured and put some spacer blocks in here and drill some new holes, and this thing will be mounted. So sweet. All right, guys. So I currently have the transmission up on jacks. Cross members in. We already went over that. Now I kind of got some spacing going on. It looks like I got about 2 inches on both sides to get the above the floor, to get the transmission to sit between 0 and 3 degrees. That's kind of important to me. I don't want to just have all the fluid in the back of the trans blowing out the seal and just leaking everywhere. So I'd rather have it up high. So this is where I want it to sit level wise. The header's clear. There's no more touching going on here on either side. The spring's nice and free now. So that's good. This is where I want it to sit, and I got about 2 inches here. So I'm gonna actually put a square piece of tubing, a 2x2 square tube in here, drill a hole through it, and then just put a bolt through that, and that'll space it out just fine. I've got a rubber piece up here, so it's not gonna be solid mounted. That should work just temporarily until I either change this setup or I go with a American Powertrain style crossmember, universal crossmember, and just bolt it through the side of the frame. But this will work for now. It'll at least get me on the road. And then I'm gonna leave this for right now just because I'm waiting for parts. Just gonna go ahead and work on the upper side. I'm doing this clutch kind of stuff up here. Everything's starting to work out pretty well. For now, I'm gonna go up top and kind of show you guys what I got going on up there. All right, so a lot of you guys are yelling at me about the clutch thing, and yes, I know it was not adjusted properly. So now it is. As you can see, now I have a little bit of play, and then the clutch starts right about there, and it's really stiff, so it presses and then it touches the floor. It's not over exaggerating or anything like that. Here, I'll actually just do it. So if I'm in the truck, there's your normal bit of play that you should have anyways, and then if I actually press the clutch in, it touches the floor. I think it needs to go just a hair more, but I don't want to adjust it until the truck's running, so I actually know where it gives and where it doesn't give, because then I can actually make sure it's perfect. So I think this will work for now, and I'm actually going to go ahead and start putting some of the motor stuff back together so I can literally just put fluid and fire this thing up once my drive shaft gets here. I'm just doing all the last minute touch-up stuff before I get that, because once that's here, this truck's driving. All right, so I've got this side's completely put together. That's all fine. The spark plug wires on this side just need to put in, and I don't think I ever touched the spark plugs themselves. I'm just gonna go ahead and torque check the header because we did end up taking that off. I'm gonna double check that. I need to torque down the starter and make sure the ground cable is on the starter because I know it is not. And then I think a couple more things other than that, and just a couple miscellaneous things. So we'll go into just a little time-lapse kind of parts and getting all this stuff back together. And we'll come back when I get that material and we can start putting that Crossmember hard mounted into the truck. So for the Crossmember side of things, I need to raise it up 2 inches, and the way I thought of doing that, just temporarily until I can get the actual American Powertrain style Crossmember that they sell, that you can, it's universal, it's really nice. I need to raise it up 2 inches, and I'm simply gonna put a 2x2 inch square tubing underneath it, drill a hole and bolt it that way. That raises it up literally right where I need it to be. So I'm taking this right now. I have 9 inches that I got at a Competitive Metals. It was just cheaper because it was under a foot and it was just part of their scrap bin, so I got it for like $3 literally. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half. It'll fit perfectly in sections on each side of the frame. We can go ahead and put this in. So I'm gonna cut it in half right now. We'll put it in, mock it up, and then get ready to drill our holes. Drill the hole, and it should just bolt right up because I already have the bolts. It's a 7/16 by 14 thread, and I think it's about 3.5 inches long, the bolt. And then that'll go through on the bottom of the frame all the way through and tighten down in the original bolt hole on the actual Crossmember. So should be able to cut this real quick, get it in the truck, bolt it up. And then just drill a hole through the bottom and mount it, because it's not gonna articulate forward and backward because it's hard mounted up here. And then this is only just to hold it up temporarily until I get like a nice Crossmember. So I hope you guys can see that. This should work fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and come from the top and drill, make a mark on the existing hole on the top of the Crossmember. Just kind of gonna scribble around in there, make sure I got a decent mark. Make sure this is where I want the tube. And it is pressed up pretty much all the way up against the back of the frame, which is good. That's what I want, so it's square. I'll make my mark, drill the hole all the way through, and then I can go ahead and make the mark, transfer the mark through here when I come through. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a pen, make sure this is where I want it, which is not yet. It's almost where I want it. So I can feel, because it's a slotted hole in the Crossmember, so I'm just gonna slot that, and I can take this back out, put my little socket in there that was holding it, and then you can see we have a mark for where it needs to be drilled. So that should work perfectly. Alright guys, so to transfer, I have my holes perfect for the Crossmember side. So what I'm doing to make sure that it's good on the bottom of the frame so I'm not all off is I laid this in, put a piece of tape across it so I can see the center of this hole and where I need to be, and I know that it's aligned with the Crossmember already, so I slid it out and I put a piece of tape, draw my line. Then I can actually take this both out. So this is gonna fall a little bit probably. There it goes, so it's just kind of hanging there. And then now what I'll do is I'll take a tape measure and I'll actually measure from where the center of this hole is to the outside of the frame. I take a measurement that way, and then I'll transfer that mark over to the bottom of the frame, drill a pilot hole, get to see where I am, need to kind of look to see if I need to go left, right, up, or down, and then re-drill it to the right size, and we should be able to put a bolt through it. So, sweet.
Yeah! Oh yeah!
Heck yeah, we're engineers.
Yeah, fabricators.
Alright guys, I hope no one hates my ghetto-ness, but I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's hard mounted here, but it's got the rubber part here, so it's technically still the same. I mean, before the only difference was this piece was mounted to the frame and I just put like a spacer block in there. So everything still can move around a little bit. It's got the rubber movements going on, so this raises it up 2 inches. It's perfect. I don't know why, but this one is like an inch more over than that one, as you could probably tell. I think that's just where the trans sits because the motor's not necessarily centered, but regardless, it does fit, so I don't really care. So now we just got to put the drive shaft in it, put some fluid in the thing, start it. We should be good to go, actually. So we're gonna get some lock washers to make sure this thing doesn't back out like ever. And down the line, it might be a good idea for me to cut the head off of this bolt. But regardless, for now, we're just gonna leave it. So we're gonna go get some bolts. And I should probably take these rods out now that I'm looking at them from the 3 in the tree shifter. So we'll probably take those out as well and get this thing rolling.
Oh, that's sketchy.
Okay guys, so we've done a little bit of looking here. Some trial and error. Some mistakes were made in fitment of how all this is gonna go together. So I'll show you right now. The blocks that we put in, we're gonna raise the transmission too much and put everything just way too close to the cab.
Waste of time.
And yeah, pretty much just a waste of time. The angle between the rear end and the transmission were just so off. Everything was too high. So what we did was we took them out and we ended up just seeing what it would look like if we just set it back down on the frame. We put the truck on the ground and
yeah, it's kind of funny. When it was up in the air, not only was the truck way high up in the air, but like the trans fit and all the measurements fit when it was in the air. We put it on the ground, the rear end came down a little more. I think the rear end was up higher, or no, the rear end was lower. So it was cali lifted, and so we had to raise the trans more to get the correct angle. And so I did not think about that. So when you're doing your angle, make sure that the truck's on the ground. But you can use my mistakes to your advantage. You don't need any spacers. It fits. You can see there's no gap right here. Once we tighten it down, I mean, it'll be solid.
It'll be perfect. There'll be no...
And I mean, I'm sitting at, I think, 3.5, 4 degrees right now, which is fine. I'd like to be below 3, but using the stock Crossmember, everything will line up. It'll be fine. I didn't even have to dent the crap out of the bottom of my cab. Oh well, I guess. You're not going to see it, so oh well there. But now I've already put the drive shaft in. It actually does fit now, so we'll do that in a second once we get this thing mounted. But yeah, use my fault to your advantage. Headers fit, everything fits, so that's a good thing. So we'll go ahead now, and yeah, even the bench seat shifter doesn't hit the seat anymore. So we should be able to go and pop this stuff in and get the drive shaft in, put some fluid in, and we'll start this thing. Drive shaft install.
Let's go.
Alright, Sean, you're gonna have to grab those U-bolts out of the box because I already forgot.
We're on the ground over here. Let's put it back in the box.
I don't put anything back in the box. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's pull the
Rotate.
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
Pulling the tape off.
Watch the bearings. You gotta make sure the bottom bearing doesn't fall out.
There's a method.
This thing is just so nice. So much nicer than the old one. It's really dirty right now. I gotta clean it, but everything fit back there really well. I got some new U-bolts holding it in. Full torque logo.
Angle looks perfect.
Yeah, our angle is amazing. You guys can't tell. I'm sorry, the camera's not going to be straight. I'm underneath it, and it's on the ground. So it's a lot lower now. So, but our angle there looks great. Angle back here looks really great. Everything's looking pretty good. So, very happy with that, and I can't wait to drive this thing. So we're gonna put some fluid in it and get this thing started up. I'm so ready to start this thing. Like, so ready. Let's get some fluid in this thing. All right, trans is in. Engine work's done. It's on the ground. Now the last piece to go in. Finally, I took this out because I was cutting some more. Is this amazing shifter with the nice 9-ball that I made. It's gonna go back on. So I'm gonna put this guy on real quick. We're ready to fire this thing up.
Let's see if she'll fire.
So this is pretty much the moment everyone's been waiting for 2 months. It's probably gonna take a second to crank over. It has no feel in it, but gotta hope it does.
Sound in a while. Woo! Yeah. Wow! Get you some of that.
My little gun has been sitting for a while. I'm gonna warm up a little bit. Woo! It smelled all burning and everything.
All right, you guys, so this will be the first time in, I don't know, probably roughly 2 months that this thing's moved from the exact spot that it's currently sitting in. So
I'm ready. I'm also tired.
Yeah, this has been a long couple days getting this thing to where it's at.
I'm not much of a street rod guy, but I'm stoked to see it. Well, hello, sunshine.
I grabbed the column.
We took it. cool down my ass.
I can't even describe how unbelievably loud. I can see the collector through the floor. Like, it's dumbfounding loud. I can't even hear it in my right ear right now. I literally got on it just barely, like quarter throttle up the street, and I can't hear anything in my right ear. And not only that, I'm dying of carbon monoxide right now. I have to get out of this thing. So, exhaust has to go back on it. Either that or a trans tunnel, one of the two. I kind of want to just put the exhaust back on it because then I can get some torque back.
Put the exhaust back on it.
But
How much faster is that?
oh, it's gonna rip. Like, I'm just like barely leaning into it, and just the gears are so short. My only concern is that when I downshift a second, it looks like it's kind of fighting. So I don't know if that's clutch adjustment or what. Thank you. But I don't know. It drove, so that's a win in my book. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so happy right now. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Alright guys, so I know this one was a very long video. It's about 20 minutes long right now, so I'm going to make this nice and short for you guys. The truck does drive. I got a bunch of more things to do before tonight's car show. It is the next day, so I'm going to get this video up, edited, and I need to actually lift the transmission up an inch. So I put those 2-inch spacer blocks, way too much. I have nothing in it right now. That's not enough. The trans is sitting too low. Fluid's starting to come out of the tail seal, so I know it's too low. And also the headers are hitting the crossmember a little bit, so I want to raise it up an inch. I think that'll be okay. So I'm going to go get a section of 1x2 tubing, do the exact same thing I did with the 2-inch. I just wanted to leave that in there to show you guys how I did it. So that's still going to happen. I'm just going to do it with a 1-inch tube. So I'm going to do that, get the exhaust back on it, get the trans tunnel made, get the interior kind of back in it, make sure the thing drives right, and just make sure this thing is solid, adjust the clutch a little bit more, and I just need a lot more adjustment things that need to happen. So like the video if you did enjoy. Big thank you to Full Torque Drive Shaft once again. All their info is down below. You guys can check them out. Tell them I sent you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So thank you so much for watching.